Hi Miriam and Tim, I'm here at 7 Beswick Court in Pleasant Hill, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1,611 square feet, built in 1975, listed at $875,000. I thought I'd quickly run out here, shoot this video. It's an example of how my clients just love to be able to view these videos and quickly vet properties during the week and not have to spend the weekends going out looking at properties that just don't work out. A lot of times pictures are misleading. This is a 360 video, so what that means is at any point when you're viewing on YouTube, you can look up, down, left, right, view all angles. I talk quickly, so a lot of times if you want to get a better angle or view of any angles, it's best to pause and then look around. But again, these are super helpful. What I do generally is, and I know we haven't spoke, but when you are ready to potentially buy, I'll have a good idea of your criteria, and I'm basically going through your checklist, vetting everything, and then also calling out red flags. There aren't many in this house, there's a couple, so you'll get to see how it works. So first off the bat, this property is in a court, which is nice, obviously, for privacy and then safety for kids when they're playing. There's a basketball court out here. One thing I did notice, though, is across the street is a church. So not a huge deal. It can impact resale value. This is probably not the best angle, but that is a church over there. And it is I'm not familiar with all of the different terms, but it is labeled as a scientist, so I hope I'm not misspeaking, but would obviously need to look into that if it's a Scientology center, which again, depending on the buyer, can have an impact on someone's desire to pursue a property. But anyhow, something to explore. Okay, so right off here in the entry, a couple notes. I'll probably talk more in depth in this first couple videos, just so you get a sense for the things I cover. For a house at 1,600 square feet, essentially, normally, you will not have a separate living/family room. It's a combo where they'll just have one big living area. Sometimes it gets squashed in with the dining area, but they did a good job with this floor plan to optimize. So there is this separate living area here in the front. There's a step down, so it's good. There's a transition from carpet to hardwood, so people are aware of the step, but sometimes it can be a hazard if there is no railing. So this works because the contrast. So you do have this separate dining area, which is nice. Right now there's not a whole lot of light coming through. There's a bunch of trees, so that could be a reason to shield some of the light. But it is fairly dark in here. It is in the middle of the day, it's sunny, so I'm not sure how you feel about natural light. It looks like this house doesn't get a ton. So as I mentioned, transitioning here to the kitchen, there is also a family room area. So again, you won't normally see this with a property this size, 1,600 square feet. So decent sized kitchen. It does jut and butt into the family area. So the family room, although it's separate, is not the hugest, but there's a good amount of counter space here in the kitchen. This home has been renovated, so there's been plenty of updates. So we can talk more about your preferences, but they've done a good job, and the house is well maintained for it built in 1975. The house feels solid. Good bones is a term you'll hear. I've already walked the property, so I don't feel any foundation issues. So this is a real fireplace that you probably can't even use based on the city ordinances, but you have one nonetheless. Okay, so that was real quick, the living areas. So as you go into the house, to the right, again, is the living areas, and then to the left are the bedrooms. So we'll go ahead and take a look into the first room. So again, speaking to square footage, for 1600 and the amount of living space out there. Usually you see it either optimized for the living areas or the rooms, and they've done a good job equalizing it. So the rooms aren't going to be terribly large here. So this is an example. It's a small room. They've got a little small twin bed to make the room feel a little bit larger, but you know, for the most part, the rooms are going to be on the smaller side. Here's bedroom number 2, which is the master. Again, not a ton of natural light. You can see the property is somewhat perimetered by trees, which is the reason for the sun blockage. No walk-in closet on this one, but you do have a double closet, so one on each side. Again, I'm talking fast, so feel free to pause at any time. You've got your vanity here, and then the master. So, you know, not everyone's taste as far as the tiling here, but it does appear to be in really good condition and fairly new. We can talk about, you know, estimated cost. You guys are probably going through that process right now at your current place. But you know, a lot of the items that buyers get hung up on are really cosmetic, and that can be done relatively inexpensively. They make pretty decent quality materials now at mid-range prices. So, okay, so that was the master. That's bedroom number 2. And then we'll turn around the corner here, and we got the second full bathroom. Again, this one probably could use some updating, but in good condition. And then bedroom number 3, again, this was a smaller one. And this probably gets the most natural light here on the front. Again, no trees shielding. And then lastly, the 4th bedroom, which, you know, it's an interesting layout. So as you can see, this is more like an office, but it's got two doors for entry, one off the living areas, and then one off the hallway. So you kind of have this little, you can kind of feel mazy a little bit, but it works. So we're wrapping around the corner here, back into the office. So this door obviously would present no privacy, but those are easily replaceable. But again, this is the 4th bedroom. All right, and then we'll go out to the garage, and you know, again, I'm not pointing out any red flags because there really are none. Inside the house, the big ones are the foundation, and usually I'll be able to feel soft spots in the ground or sloping in the floors. Cracks in the door frames is usually the sign for foundation issues. But they've, and I know this is what attracted you to the property, but a well landscaped yard, low maintenance. So they have this brick slash concrete terrace area. So that's nice. And then this is artificial grass. I'm a big fan of artificial grass. Looks nice all the time, don't need water, and then an awesome swing set back here. So let's see, the lot is 8,000 square feet, so it's not huge, but as you can see, it's pretty spacious, and from a neighbor standpoint, it's pretty private, partly because of a different level here on your neighbor behind. This play area creates some good separation between your neighbor. If you're in the house to your right, which actually, I'm sorry, right now is to your right. So then you have this sandbox, and then you got an orange tree on the left side, which again, this space creates separation from your neighbors. This is basically the pool pump, and then your awesome gated pool. So that's key to have with a pool, is this gate, obviously for safety reasons for the kids. So really nice yard. Okay, so I do want to point out a couple things. Pleasant Hill is known for a certain type of construction in the house to have some foundation issues. I'm not going to bore you with the details on the construction, but a lot of houses in Pleasant Hill have buckling in the house because they put a big support beam in the middle of the house, and as time goes by, the soil moves and then creates this buckling effect in the middle of the home. This one doesn't have it, but as you can see here, this is a sign of some type of movement in the driveway. So there's a big gap here. It's tough to tell at this point. Normally for something like this, you would it's from root intrusion from a big tree, but there are no trees around here, so something is going on to have this raised driveway here. So this paved driveway was most likely put in after, or is fairly, what's the best way to say it? It was built in 75, most likely. This driveway was put in after. So there should be some history, hopefully, in the disclosures of why that is. I didn't show you the garage, which we'll go to now. And so, yeah, there's no cracking here. So that's interesting what that could be. But that would be something to look into, and hopefully they call it in the disclosure. So here we are in the garage. Most of these homes are not going to have finished garages. So this one actually, from a finished standpoint, at least there's drywall. A lot of times you just see exposed beams, so it's just not painted. But the garage is in good condition. So overall, this is just a well-maintained, well-updated, and taken care of home with, again, good foundation, good bones. The only item is that driveway, which actually, at the grand scheme of things, not a huge deal. Okay, so I apologize, I talk fast in these videos. This one is probably a little bit more longer than the normal one, but again, just to give you an idea of how this can help when you're evaluating properties. Yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Miriam. Thanks, Tim. Bye.